But anyway, worth a check out, worth a look. But I think that is all I've got.
All right.
But
Well,
you have some bargain finds or something
yes, I do
coming.
have some bargain finds. So I am going to talk about what I found is kind of the current state of the flea market industry. That's an industry. Flea market, one of the two. So no, um, my youngest has gotten really into Star Wars, so I decided to get him a novel to see if he wanted to read it. This is in the Junior Jedi Knights line. Now, obviously, this is all what do they call it? The old EU. So
Yeah,
this is
Legends.
yeah, this would be considered Legends because this follows Anakin Solo on Yavin 8, which they saw. I guess supposedly they find ruins that are very similar to what's on Yavin 4.
The Masazi ruins.
Yep. So this came out in 1996. So not not, not too bad on like length. I mean, for my youngest is only 11, so 122 pages, fairly uh, fairly tame on the length of that. The other one that I got, and I actually ordered some more for this, so I've got for those who can see here, if you those that are listening, I got the NES version of a copy of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. And this one came with the game and the manual, which is in the back. I actually ordered the box with the registration card and the Nintendo Power insert, and I said in the box too, for $20 off of eBay. So I've got that coming, so I can have a complete box copy of Robin Hood. The other one, and I've got it sitting down on the floor, is I got a not super old, but a pretty decently old Dell rugged book that can turn into a tablet.
Hmm.
But I got that because my brother needs a computer that he can hook up to an old car to do some diagnosis. So got that. But I was very disappointed about because I had gone to this flea market in Kentucky called Leland, and yes, it's the largest flea market in Kentucky supposedly, and
I would hope so with a name like that.
they have an antique mall, they have outdoor vendors, and then they have indoor vendors. And when I remember going back in the past, like everything was like a flea market was supposed to be like a yard sale. You would go, people would have their wares. Sometimes they would have handmade stuff. Sometimes it would be, like I said, like a yard sale where they were selling just random antiques and stuff like that. That's not what it is. Almost every single booth that we went to while we were down there were these like bulk purchased, like I would say probably I could be wrong. I would say Chinese goods, but they were bulk purchased. They were just random new things in plastic bags everywhere. Almost all of it was that, and only like probably 10 booths there had 10 booths out of the gobs and gobs that they had actually had. Some of them had vintage toys. I did look for some. They had one that had like a bunch of Black Series, the GI Joe D classified or whatever. They had those there, but there was only like two of those. Versus everything else was just this peddled crap of new, cheaply made junk. And I guess this is kind of the where flea markets are going because it's so much easier just to order a pallet of junk that's new
Yeah.
versus going and finding the stuff to buy or running, some sort of like where you're getting collectibles and different things like that to go and sell. I did get this copy of Robin Hood at Flealand. Paid a little more than I probably should have, but I wanted to go home with something. Didn't pay a lot, but I mean more than it's worth. Though it did have the manual, so I was like, that's why I paid a little bit more.
Yeah.
If the game itself only goes for about $12, I paid about $20 for it. And I was like, it's got the manual. You know, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna fight over that much. And the other weird thing was it was one of the few booths that didn't take credit card, which I found really odd.
Hmm.
Um,
Well, kind of in line with what you're talking about. I don't know if you noticed some of the booths at Comic Con are like that. Like I can tell that what they've got, like they'll have stuff, and it looks kind of neat. It'll be like dragon figures and things like that. They're plastic, they're painted and everything, and they'll be like clockwork things or whatever. Whenever you buy one, the guy like reaches under the table and finds the box that it was shipped to him in. It's clearly some mass-produced thing,
Yeah.
and almost definitely from China or Vietnam or Thailand or wherever, maybe Mexico. And it's one of those like, all I'd really need to do is just like buy one of these, figure out the name of the company, and just like set up a booth someplace else. And that's probably what's happening.
And it is. And the thing is like okay, so the antique mall, while it didn't have any real collectibles that were interested in me, I mean, there were stuff that interested me, but it was nothing I would wanted to buy or anything like that. Was that they had genuinely only antiques. They were very, and the way that they did the antique mall was everything had a booth number. You'd have to go up front and pay for it at the front counter. The flea market was they actually had vendors working. They worked their own booth and they collected the money and did all that kind of stuff. And the one in Flealand reminded me of like a shoe carnival because they had a barker who would they would have like a they had the machine where you would stand in there and try to like collect the cash and all that stuff. They had that, and they would periodically say, "Okay, blah blah blah, you've now the next person that gets to do the cash grab," and you know. I think honestly, we had more fun playing the quarter coin pusher than than actually shopping there. So because me and my girlfriend went down there and we spent the day looking through there, then coming back up here, and yeah, I was just disappointed because flea markets used to be just like yard sales but permanent, and it's not that anymore. Like I get those booths having like one or two of them, but when a huge percentage of them were just that, like you lose a lot of, you know, I don't know, I lose a lot of respect for it because it's like if I wanted to buy this stuff, there's too many apps out there now to go to just buy that stuff. If I want to get something like that, I'll go to Temu, I'll go to AliExpress or whatever it may be, and I'll buy what I want there. I'm not gonna spend it on your, you know, same, your stuff when you mark it up, and I'm not getting any deal on it. So it's a sad state. It is a sad, sad state. You still get a few flea markets. We have a chain of flea markets around here called Trader Bakers. They're still very much like a yard sale kind of thing, where people are just selling their own stuff. But even there, you'll still find a booth or two that have this bulk bought stuff. And like I said, if it's just a few of them, fine. But when the huge percentage of them is nothing but that, just disappointing.
Yeah.
We still had a fun trip down there, but that was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's where we went for that.
Gonna say we also run into that with the Lego minifigures at the conventions, and there'll be more than one booth. And you look at them, and you're like, well, I know for a fact some of these are not official Lego pieces because they've never made this figure. And then the ones that they try to tell, oh, it's all official pieces. Yeah, it might be all official pieces, but they've been repainted or something. You know,
Yeah.
or they're the ones that just aren't even official pieces.
But yeah, definitely. Well, probably need to clip this. I think it's a good conversation. Uh, it's not a fun conversation, but it's a good one. It's the state of things. It's especially for somebody that likes to collect vintage games and stuff like that. It's just, I mean, the market's gone away. Now you have to worry about. Because one of the things I saw a lot of, and I was actually debating on buying one, was the like the fake Nintendo Mini or the
Yeah.
Super Nintendo Mini, things like that. I always debated on buying one so I could have one hooked up to the TV so that I didn't always have to break out the NES. I didn't have to break out.
Well, at Comic Con, I showed you the booth there. The guy had those too. Because I actually asked him, because one of them went all the way up to the N64 and beyond even that. And I was like, so these come with controllers, right? He goes, yeah. I go, so what about the N64? He goes, no. Like, it comes with a different controller, different mapping. He's like, we all know whoever designed that controller needs to be, like, thrown into heavy traffic or something.
The one thing is that, and this is something I should just do a review on at some point, is that
The N64 controller.
the N64 controller, while while it sucked, it was easy to adapt to. Like, say you play one game, you hold the middle thing, hold the right side. Another one, you would hold both the outer sides. There was a company, and I'm gonna probably butcher how it's pronounced, but it's called Hori, Hori, and they make a controller where you can hold it two hands and operate every single button. And if you have an N64, definitely recommend getting it. It does take a little bit of time to get used to because you're used to playing it, with the N64 controller. You're not going to get quite used to it, but it definitely helped. And I don't know why they didn't go that route later in life. I mean, they like when the original Xbox released, they had what they called the Duke controller, which was a giant controller. But then they realized this was ungodly for people to hold in their hands, so then they shrunk it down. And what they had shrunk down to was pretty much similar to what the 360 controller turned out to be later. So, but anyways, there's just my complaints about the status of buying crap vintage.
Well, I mean, I think realistically that was destined to happen once the internet became a thing. Because if you're sitting there on that stuff and you know anything about the internet, you're like, well, the yokels aren't buying any of this. I'll just sell it on eBay. Then you're
Yeah,
like, but I've still got my booth, so what am I going to do? Oh, they don't know about AliExpress yet. I'll just buy a bunch of crap from there, flip it over here.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, or you have just people that are looking for the stuff that just descend on these places and clean it all out of anything of real value.
So this is where, and I could put this in a tales of collecting kind of thing, but yard sales. Yard sales are the one saving grace. If you have the time, especially if your town does a townwide yard sale, that's the best time if you're collecting anything vintage because vintage games, vintage computers, vintage toys, vintage electronics, whatever that may be, yard sales are the way to go because you're going to have people, not saying that people are selling stuff because they don't know what they have, and that's kind of a bad way of putting it, but it is the honest truth. Um, that's like where I bought my ColecoVision for $10, and the only thing that the woman said to me was, "You'll take good care of this," and I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, I will take good care of
Yeah,
it."
and sometimes it's not even, you know, sometimes I think people do have an idea of what it's worth, but they're like, yeah, under super optimal conditions I'll get that price. I just want to get rid of
Yeah,
this.
because it's like, oh yeah, I could sell it on eBay for $100, but that would require me to get the listing, verify that everything's tested and working, package it up to ship it, especially if it's something that's, you know, fragile,
Yeah.
um, and all of that. It's like, okay,
And then after all that, between the eBay fees and your since you're probably gonna list it for free shipping, it's like 90% of the things on eBay are listed as free shipping. Between eBay fees and shipping, you're probably gonna lose 20% if you're lucky of what you just did.
and then
So
and then if you have somebody, you can do the same thing, sell it for 40 or $50 right there at a yard sale.
yeah.
You know,
Avoid the headache. You're making less money, but it's gone. You've got the cash. I mean, that's why I turned to Facebook Marketplace to move some of my Lego sets, and because I was just wanting to avoid all the hassle of things. Even though I still ended up shipping the train. That was the one thing I didn't want to do. But the guy didn't want the box. That's why that all worked out. Because I went from having to ship something that has a surface area about 2/3 of this table to like I fit it in a box that was like 8 by 8 by about 6 inches deep. So saved a lot on postage there.
nice.
But yeah, I mean, you've got your yard sales. Not St. Vincent's. What's the other?
You have Salvation Army, you have Goodwill, you
I
have
think it's Goodwill's the one I'm thinking of. I keep seeing people have fines there. The key is to go around wealthy neighborhoods because they don't have time. Like that thing's gonna be worth $100. That's nothing to them. They don't care. They just want it gone. They're just gonna go donate it and be done with it.
well, that's like going up to the Goodwill outlets up in Indianapolis. I can tell you how many actually box games I bought. I got my probably the most random box game I ever found there was my copy of Mortal Kombat 2 for the 32X in the box with the manual, all that. Found it at Goodwill Outlet. Now, if you don't know what a Goodwill Outlet is, it's not like regular Goodwill where you go and they have everything priced. No, Goodwill Outlets, they just have bins they just dump everything into and you buy it by the pound.
Yeah.
So if you somehow found a bin full of video games You're paying by the pound, not by the thing. Now, the one thing that always got after me, or got this kind of bugged me, is that they would never sell computers because they're like, well, technically we're not supposed to sell computers because they may have personal data, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I get that, but why did you put them out in the first place then?
Yeah, that seems ridiculous.
So what I did is I would just put them on the bottom of my cart and then just pile it full of other crap on top of it. Get around that real quick. Because the first thing I do is I wipe the computers anyways. I mean, like I've got this laptop I bought. First thing I'm going to do is just wipe it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep it for anything else because it's not going to do me any good having their old stuff on there anyways. You never know what the hell they had in there, viruses, other things. So I'm going to wipe it out. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, definitely let us know your comments.
Well, Jim,
On
if I may, I have an Ollie's anecdote related to all this. Not Ollie's, sorry, Ross. I figured out why I'm not ever finding anything at the Ross store. Because there's a time in the afternoon that they unload the truck and put all the crap on carts and put it out there, and there's vultures just sitting there waiting for it. Like, I figured this out like about 2 weeks ago there at the one in Bloomington. And, so yeah, there's this one guy I've seen there now a few times, talking to him a little bit. But, like, I showed up one day, and I see these carts back there, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Because didn't check in the afternoon ever. And, the guy explained it to me, and it's like, are you for real? Like, this is why I never find anything in this store. And he's like, yeah, that's what they do. Unload the trucks, put on the carts, and then just picks through them. So he's like, hey, see those people over there? He's like, look in their cart. And I glanced over, and some of the G.I. Joe classified figures that from Target were like $40 or $50 because like Duke and a motorcycle and everything. They're like 12 or 13, I think, at Ross. Yeah, they had a cart full of them. They grabbed them all. And I was just like, yeah, pretty much. You
I
know,
had one over there.
and I mean, and I don't fault them because there's definitely some things that if I found them there, not that, because I just want one of those for myself. But like the Viper 3 packs from Amazon that are like $90 on Amazon normally, they want 15 for them at Ross. Hell yeah, I'd buy all four of them if they had four of them. I'd buy 10 of them if they had them. You know, because two for me, the rest for the Bay. You know, although I might go to Facebook Marketplace first. But yeah, or now Ollie's, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Ollie's, I think they're just not putting them out because it's clogged up with crap from all the previous waves. So because now it's really funny, the figures I've been looking for at Ollie's are now also showing up at Ross as of today from a post I saw earlier. It's maddening. I don't know what is happening. It's like this wave of figures like just never hit retail. They've just been floating around all the other stores because like they never hit retail because they were clogged with old crap, and now they're over here, and there are Cobra figures that they want $5 a pop for that are $20 at retail that I'm sure I could get 15 for very easily. So I'd just buy a metric shit ton of them, keep a few that I want for myself, and just start selling the rest in lots on eBay. But no, I can't do that because I can't find the goddamn things. So yeah, the most I've found so far is Chad found me a Sergeant Slaughter figure, which that was an online exclusive. I don't know how the hell that wound up at Ollie's. That was like a $35 figure or something. Got it for like $12. I'm not complaining, but like, I don't know how the hell that happened.
Yeah, I just need to go and have the actual Sergeant Slaughter sign it.
Maybe, but no, I've honestly thought about just like picking up random crap every time I go to Ollie's and just making that one of our segments, like what I find at Ollie's this week. Because like there's all kinds of board games there that I have to assume are terrible. That's why they're there, but maybe they're not. Like I bought one that was like $15. It's normally like 50. It's got all kinds of miniatures with it and everything. It's Rivet Wars, the Eastern Front. So I don't know. I'm gonna give that a shot. There's a like a Risk Galactic Edition or something. We're like trying to conquer all of space. There's a Monopoly edition that actually looked kind of interesting. You're like building a building, building buildings and stuff in the center. So I don't know, and just like a shit ton of Marvel Legends figures from waves I don't need. Like a few days ago, I realized my 15% off coupon was getting ready to expire. I knew I was never going to find those Crimson Guards. So it's time to buy a whole bunch of hand ninjas for Daredevil to fight. And to make Stilt Man taller and taller, I'm going to need to make a video of Stilt Man now. Because he'll be like, he's almost a human height once I add these in. So yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't even realize that was happening at Ross. So yeah. That's why I'm really pulling for you to find something for me at the Ross and Jasper when you stop there.
I stop there occasionally.
And then I found out there's a whole other like outlet I should be looking at. Burlington. Apparently they sell stuff like that too.
A lot of those, like most of those clothes, like Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Burlington, they all do the same thing on how they get all their stock.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's from places like Target where once they mark it down to a certain point, if it doesn't sell, they sell it to someone else. That's where Big Lots gets all their crap too. So yeah, that's why I don't ever find Lego sets there because Lego sets don't go that low.
Yeah,
you will not like. I've found them at 90% off before. Actually, it wasn't even 90% off. It was the fact they were promo figures, and so they just had to have a price in the system, so they were a penny. I found them at the Toys R Us in Evansville. Like once I saw online, I called down there. I was like, "You guys have any of these?" Like, yeah. Like, I'll be there in an hour and a half before the interstate. So yeah, went down there. Well, I was like, scan one of these. Their opinion is like, I don't care how many you have in that box. I'll take all of them. They only had like 6, but still, like I was prepared to buy like hundreds of these things.
I want them all.
Yeah, well, I mean, I sold them for like $7 a piece. Like from a percentage standpoint, it's a 7,000% increase. That's the greatest profit I've ever achieved on anything.
The greatest profit I ever achieved was when I found.
I mean, I suppose beyond like free to something, but you know.
Yeah, well, I think it was when I bought Ed 209, one of the original the original figures. Bought it for $25 and sold it for $25.
See, there you go.
Ed 209. I should have kept it now that I think about it.
But,
But anyways, definitely let us know down in the comments below if any your thrifting woes or pluses too. I guess if you've had any good luck or found a good place for you guys to go, and maybe we can find a place to go and find those good deals as well.
Or if you're willing to buy those Crimson Guards at cost, or selling to me at cost, I'll cover the shipping.
Yeah.
Now I won't buy a whole bunch to resell. I'll let you do that. I need like 4 for my collection.
All right, well, that's all that I've got for today.
Thank you for watching. This has been a Geek Cabal video, Echoes of a Whisper. This has been a clip from one of our podcasts. The link to the actual podcast this is from is in the description of the video if you want to see the entire thing, which we obviously encourage you to do. But otherwise, if you enjoyed what you saw, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Subscriptions and all the rest is definitely appreciated. Comments, as always. But just in general, thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. And check out the other videos we have here on the channel. See you later.